Hi, my lovelies. This is Valerie, and I am here on this slightly stormy Tuesday here in Florida talking about surrender and bliss and what that all really means. Actually, I'm just going to really talk about bliss today, and the difference between true bliss and being a blissninny. They're kind of they sound like, oh, I just want to be in a state of bliss, but if you don't really know what it means, you're going to be out in bliss ninnyville. You bought a one-way ticket out there, and then you find you can't stay in it, and then you're wondering how to get back. That's the problem. So we want to take a look at what the differences are in being in a bliss state and what it means on the deeper levels. So let me begin by saying that in Hinduism, this has been a path of study for me, study and practice for over 30 years before I got into studying the law of assumption, Neville Goddard, meeting my mentor, and really diving into the teachings of Neville Goddard on imagination and manifesting. So, but I do see it in a clearer light in a lot of ways than when I was the most immersed in those teachings at the time. So I'm grateful for what understanding Neville Goddard's teachings has given to me about all of this. So we think of bliss as anything from from eating death by chocolate, from having a wonderful glass of wine at wine o'clock. We think of it as immersing ourselves into a hot bubble bath, having a spa day, me time, that kind of thing. And while those things are blissful, and we feel that, oh man, that's bliss, or we come upon a teaching of some kind and we bliss out, we trip out, even that is not the concept of true bliss in the Eastern wisdom traditions. In that sense, it's very different. And in the Eastern traditions, it's called Ananda, Ananda, Ananda. And very often you hear about a great master from India, or a Swami who teaches Hinduism, one type of lineage or style or technique or another, and their name includes Ananda at the end, which means bliss of, the bliss of freedom, which was Swami Muktananda, who was the original head of the lineage that I practiced in. There's Swami Satchidananda, truth and the bliss of the highest truth and consciousness. So these names are very wonderful and very meaningful, but you have to understand what they are in their actual sense. So there's a scholar of yoga and Ayurveda and many of the Hindu yoga disciplines of the branches of yoga. There's 7 branches of yoga. So he says it's translated as bliss, though it has no real equivalent in the English language. Bliss is a helpful approximation, and it can be misleading, and I totally agree with that. It's really, it is what he calls a timeless dimension of happiness, not just a higher degree of the joys, this I'm still quoting him, of the joys that we normally experience in life. So, and he goes on to say it's not a high that's connected to a low. It's an ongoing state, and it's literally matrix, the ground of everything in consciousness. So it's such a deep and expansive experience level that it's not this kind of in, out, up, down, back and forth experience that we have, or where a speed bump comes along and bops us out of our state. It is nothing like that. It's something that is just ongoing. And one of the, I'd say goals in practice was about being able to achieve that without having, finished your karma, left your body, gone on to the beyond. It isn't that. It means that you got it right now, right here. But a lot of people still get that confused. And this is where we buy the one-way ticket to Blissninnyville and then can't find our way back when we get lost, okay? So this is the key. Now, what happens here is that a lot of times, because we get we misinterpret the meaning of bliss, we latch on to the idea of that we are the operant power, which was what Neville taught, that Christ is your highest consciousness, that your I am state is your awareness of being is I am. And these are profound teachings in Neville's terms. And yes, Neville had some very, very, very powerful experiences that were far from your regular daily life experiences, of moving into other dimensions of consciousness. And while those are very powerful, and there have been others definitely who've experienced that as well. There was a great teacher, Walter Russell, who also experienced that many times over. But it's just that you, on a day-to-day level, can't really function the way it's intended for us to be out there doing what we do, living our life in our states of consciousness that we have chosen, and experiencing from that, experiencing how we can shape our own day, our life, through understanding how imagination and our state of consciousness manifests through us into the external world, the shadow world, which continues to reflect us. So it's not something you can latch on to about being I am or anything like that, that can kind of like protect you. It's not like that. You're out there in it. It's how you receive it and how you can shut down. Pardon me, that my it's a speed bump right there. It's my clothes washer. That how you can change your attitude toward things, change the way you see things, change your perspective. This is the way it's done. Change your state. This is the way it's done. But it's not about just kind of wafting around, tripping out, saying how things are always flowing to you, but then not being able to actually explain or see how that is. It's a lack of connection between the cause and effect of imagination and manifesting. So this is what you want to keep that from happening, into having that kind of breakdown, because then you've lost what's really going on. So as I was saying, it's not a state you can move into and out of. It's the matrix of God or consciousness, the nameless and formless aspect of being, but that's not how you are meant to show up, guys. So here's where the rubber meets the road. You're experiencing life as it arises before you, as you manifested it. It's really a reflection of your predominant self-concept, your beliefs, your attitudes, what you hold true about yourself and others. It does not give you a hall pass to avoid, hide, or trip out. Because otherwise, the old man, the ego, still got his, his claws and his fangs kind of sunk into the back of your neck. This is not what you want at all. So it's not a head trip. You don't go around, wafting around. You may feel like it, but it's not that you want to always be just spouting platitudes about it. Even if it's a teaching. In the beginning, a lot of people, and I've been guilty there myself, back in the day, because you don't understand it. You haven't really, really, really connected it. What you do begin to see is that a lot of your old relationships fall away. You forge new relationships, surprising relationships. Things come out of nowhere, seemingly, and they all start to work for you because you have shifted. That's your shift. And that's the blessing of this. But it's not something that you woo-woo away into copping out. I don't know if that's still an expression, but I still sure like it. Copping out, okay? So you stop adding meaning to things and see them as they are. You meet people with love, and sometimes even with tough love. You have to understand that that's, when a lot of people are afraid that others will be hurt by things that happen when they have a desire and they want to manifest it. But as Neville Goddard taught, there are things that go on we know not of when the unseen reality moves us across the bridge of incidents to receive our desire. So we shouldn't be worried about the impact that it's going to have. And basically, that means you're hiding from your own power. You don't want to do that. This is the opposite. You don't want to hide from it. You want to be accountable and step up. Okay? So you stop adding meaning to things. You see them as they are. And it's really about putting on your big girl or your big guy pants every fucking day. Starting up in the morning saying, wow, I get to have another amazing day. So it's not buying into what the world of facts is dishing out. It's slamming the door on that. Now that's not avoidance. That's because where you're seeing from in your state and the desire and the confidence that your faith in God is showing up as, your self-confidence, that's the place that you are exploring and playing and persisting in. So you do what you always do, or what your state is about. Walking, breathing, eating, sleeping, that you have what your desire is and what you wanted to bring you. Knowing your desires are God's desires. But it's with a different awareness. Knowing that your imagination designs and constructs or demolishes your world in every moment. So that's really why a lot of people, when they see so much that's being, changing and things getting demolished, until you consciously have a sense of that you are clear that you are going to see a lot of old structures in your life, boundaries, electric fences that you had erected are coming down. And you are responsible for taking them down. And that's part of that kind of as a lot of people say now, pro level bliss. This is the real bliss, and this is what it does. It's a force. It's not a mood. It's not a fantasy kind of bliss. It's a force. Like love is a force. It's a power. Superpower, if you will. But that just kind of makes it like, kind of like a comic book kind of attitude. But this is the real deal. This is the real heavy-duty, industrial strength bliss. And that's the one that you want to begin to understand. So, thanks so much. This is Valerie. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again very soon.